From subtle changes in behavior to serious health risks, here are 8 negative effects of playing video games. Before we begin, be sure to subscribe to They Will Kill You. Hit the like button and request any topics you'd like to learn about in the comments section below. Number 8. Low self-esteem. People like to dress up as their favorite video game characters, to attend conventions, or to share pictures of their costumes on the internet. Professional cosplaying has even become a legitimate way to make money. Researchers from Michigan State University and the University of California at Santa Barbara decided to explore the following question: what happens when players get too attached to video game characters? Participants had to rate how much they agreed with statements like, "I can see myself getting into a relationship with my character," or "I consider my character a friend of mine." Participants were asked how often they played video games, how much they enjoyed those with good characters, and how high their levels of self-esteem were. Participants with higher character attachment were often found to have lower self-esteem. Number 7. Aggression. Several studies have shown that violent video games can contribute to increased levels of aggression. Some have even blamed video game violence as one of the factors behind several mass shootings. Researchers from the National Science Foundation attempted to provide a more elaborate context for such claims. They found that players of morally ambiguous gameplay situations were more violent than those in prosocial situations, such as helping another character. Participants were divided into 3 groups. One played a zombie game where they protect a character, another had to hunt zombies for sport, and lastly, a puzzle game similar to Tetris. They were told they were up against other players when they were actually playing against a computer. When they lost a round, they got a blast of unpleasant white noise in their headphones. The winners got to set the volume and intensity of the white noise to be dished out to the losers. The computer was programmed to let the participants win 13 times and to win the game 12 times. The puzzle game players were the most benevolent. The other 2 groups were both far more aggressive. Number 6. Avatar effect. Customizing and personalizing an avatar is, for many players, one of the best parts about video games. Players will customize their characters to look like themselves or to make the experience more personal. According to a joint study by the University of Innsbruck and the University of Sussex, in violent video games, personalizing a character raises a person's level of aggression. Participants were divided into 4 groups. One group played a non-violent video game with a personalized avatar, and another played a violent game also with a personalized avatar. The other 2 groups played the same games but with generic avatars. After half an hour, the participants were asked to help the researcher with a different study. A new person came in to taste some very hot chili sauce. The participants were told this person hated hot chili sauce, but was doing it for the money. They were asked to pour the hot sauce in a bowl because the tester had to be blind during the study. The participants could pour any amount they wanted into the bowl. Even though they were told the person couldn't stand hot sauce, those who poured the most were in the group that had played the violent game with the personalized avatar. It reportedly didn't matter whether the characters looked like them or not. Their aggression levels had increased. Number 5. Epileptic seizures. The link between video games and epileptic seizures began to cause concerns from the early 1980s. The first documented case of a video game triggering epileptic seizures came in 1981. As time passed, more reports started circulating that ranged from less serious incidents to a case covered in 1993 by The Sun, where a boy choked to death on his own vomit following a seizure that was triggered by playing a video game. Shortly afterwards, console manufacturers required game publishers to include epilepsy warnings in the manuals for games released on their devices. Seizures occur when a lack of neuronal regulation causes nerve activity to sync up. They've been characterized as a storm of brain activity in which a number of circuits fire together rhythmically. In some cases, these can be flashes or pulsing lights, similar to those often found in video games, which can trigger a photosensitive seizure. However, the available research has underlined that video games don't cause epilepsy, but may trigger seizures in those who already have a predisposition to it. Wearing sunglasses while playing and keeping a distance of 10 feet or more may significantly reduce the risk of a seizure. Number 4. Vision problems. Many studies reflect the positive effects that video games have on reaction time, spatial awareness, or peripheral and even central vision. In fact, studies from 2011 came to the conclusion that occlusion therapy combined with video game therapy had proven very effective in recovering visual acuity for people suffering from amblyopia, also known as lazy eye. However, some experts argue that from an evolutionary standpoint, the cornea, pupil, and iris aren't intended for extended exposure to the screens of electric devices. Playing video games for too long can cause eye strain. Focusing on the screen for hours on end can cause symptoms similar to those of CVS or computer vision syndrome. These include headaches, blurred vision, dry or irritated eyes. To prevent this, doctors suggest reducing glare from windows or other light sources, which may force the eyes to work harder. Taking breaks and looking into the distance without forcing focus is also recommended as a way of relaxing the eyes. Number 3. Problems with bones and muscles. Medical journal The Lancet published a case report in 2004 which mentioned the PlayStation thumb in a 9-year-old boy. Rapid gameplay had caused friction between the thumb and the controller, which had led to numbness and a blister. Frequent tendon injuries to the hands and wrists of Nintendo players have been dubbed Nintendonitis. Studies have shown that playing video games for more than 2 hours every day enhances the risk of pain at most anatomic sites. Neck and lower back pain are common among gamers who play for more than 2 hours every day. Ergonomic measures like using a special chair can be used to improve postural problems. Nevertheless, gaming for hours on end takes a toll on the body's bones and muscles, which can lead to more serious conditions over time. Children have bodies that are still developing, and frequent pain in the wrists, hands, back, and neck can affect their physical development. Number 2. Obesity. It's been estimated that children in the US spend approximately 25% of their waking hours playing video games or watching TV. Since long gaming sessions basically replace physical activity, a connection has been established between having an increased body mass index and video games. One study showed that boys who spend over 1.5 hours gaming are 75.4% more likely to be overweight than those spending less than 1.5 hours. A 2011 study revealed that in teens, there's an increase in food intake regardless of appetite during prolonged video game sessions. Consoles promoting active video games like Xbox with Kinect, PlayStation Move, or Wii have tried to address the rising obesity problem. The Baylor College of Medicine conducted a study to determine whether there were any benefits in children that received active video games under natural circumstances and not in a controlled setting. There weren't any results indicating more physical activity in children that receive such games. However, exergaming has proven effective in increasing cognitive functioning in healthy older adults and even in those suffering from Alzheimer's and other neurodegenerative diseases. One possible answer for the obesity issue is using a VR headset in a setting that allows for 360-degree motion. The effects of this technology are still being studied, but initial results appear to be promising regarding weight management. Number 1. Gamers thrombosis. Deep vein thrombosis, or DVT, is a dangerous and potentially deadly condition. It usually affects people immobilized for extended periods of time, like on long-haul airplane trips. With DVT, blood clots develop, typically within the leg. The condition becomes deadly because these clots can break off and travel through the bloodstream and block an artery that delivers blood to the lung. This is called a pulmonary embolism. The connection between thrombosis and sitting was first noticed in World War II. During the bombing of London, doctors began reporting pulmonary embolism deaths in people that sat in chairs for hours in air raid shelters. Since playing video games often requires sitting for a long time, the condition has also been associated with gamers. The condition has been referred to as gamers thrombosis, and some incidents have been fatal. Chris Staniforth, a 20-year-old Xbox player from the UK who would spend over 12 hours online, died of DVT in 2011. A Russian teenager died from DVT after playing DOTA for several days straight. Xiao Han, a 20-year-old gamer from China, almost died of DVT after a 40-hour session. Doctors recommend that if sitting for long periods of time, you should take short breaks and walk around every 2 to 3 hours. Drinking enough water and doing regular leg exercises, even while seated, is also highly recommended.